Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Batman issue 74. Why am I reviewing this? Well, first of all, let's just cut to it. I mean, the art is fantastic. The art, once again, Michael Janin. Wow, man, this art is absolutely fantastic. This is fantastic. It also actually continues a poem that Tom King did back in when the KG Beast, when they were in Russia in KG Beast, we got this story of the animal and the animals in the pit, and it actually has some relevance. The Animals in the Pit by Afenziev, some Russian poet. Now, I've talked in my past review of that particular issue with KG Beast. I can't remember what issue it was. There's been so many. It's dragged on for so long, but it never really had a point in that issue. The story itself was apparently intentional. So Tom King is now making this full circle. It's taken way too long, but at least there's some relevance to the poem many issues after. And apparently Batman and his dad, it's not really his dad, it's another Batman from another time who happens to be his dad in another time, in another timeline, the Flashpoint Batman. Well, Batman and Flashpoint Batman end up in a pit, and we're not sure at the end who comes out of it. Just like in this story, that there were a bunch of animals in the pit, and the fox outwitted all the other animals that fell in the pit, and eventually it was down to the fox and another animal, and the final animal, the fox, tricked him into eating himself, and that's how the story ends, and we never know if the fox got out of the pit. And in this particular story, Batman and Flashpoint Batman end up in a pit where they fight, and we see a hand reach out of the pit, and we don't know which one of them survived. We don't know if the fox got out of the pit. In other words, we don't know if Batman got out of the pit. We don't know if it's Flashpoint Batman that got out of the pit. We don't know. So that's the relevance. That's it there. Now, it's also relevant in another way. This was a story that apparently Thomas Wayne read to Bruce Wayne, his young son Bruce, every single night. And every single night, apparently Bruce screamed for his dad to read him the story of the animal in the pit, because he loved it so much. And yet it seemed to bring him nightmares sometimes, but he loved it so much. Well, what's the relevance of it? I'm going to cut right to the chase, because I don't think this is too profound, and I think it's a little bit exaggerated in order to make what is basically a 103-issue story work. Well, young Bruce Wayne was really fascinated, because he was hoping that even though the story ended terribly, even though the story ended not knowing if the fox ever got out of the pit, young Bruce Wayne was stubborn, just like his mother, and was hoping beyond reason that maybe, just maybe, the story would have a different ending if he heard it one more time. And that's how stubborn Batman is. That's how stubborn young Bruce was. And he got that stubbornness from his mother, and he brought that stubbornness with him when he grew up to be Batman. And Batman is so stubborn. He's so incredibly stubborn that against all odds, against all hope, he will still never give up. He'll still relive and redo things again and again and again. He's relentless. He's going to keep on fighting. And maybe thematically this is even linked to issue 25 of the Justice League, where Batman, against all logic, chose to believe in Superman. That maybe, just maybe, despite the fact that in multiple variations of the same Justice League scenario leading up to 25, Superman had failed. He had failed to escape the dark universe, according to what the World Forger said, but Batman chose nonetheless to believe in Superman. The World Forger says you cannot defeat Doom. Everybody says you cannot defeat Doom. Perpetua says you cannot defeat Doom. It appears that it's impossible to defeat Doom. The judges of creation say you cannot defeat Doom, but Batman nonetheless chooses to believe that Doom can be defeated because he chooses to believe in Superman. Batman always wants to rehear the story, even a bad story, because he hopes beyond reason that the ending will change, and be a happy ending. Never give up. That's the message here. And so, finally, I gotta say, Tom King, man, boy, it took you a long time to get there, but we got some payoff. So thank you. It was nice to get that animal in the pit story. It's nice to see that payoff finally. We had to wait too long for the payoff. But it's a beautifully drawn issue. We got some payoff. It's relevant. It's suitable to the story. Batman here buries his mom without the Flashpoint Batman knowing. He takes the body out of the coffin, buries his mom, somewhere in the desert. So preventing Flashpoint Batman from resurrecting Martha Wayne, from resurrecting this Earth's Martha Wayne, so they could be a family again. And ultimately they end up fighting, and we don't know who gets out of the pit. Although it's fairly obvious that both are going to survive. And just a little bit of a hint for issue 75, beginning City of Bane. It is fairly obvious that Flashpoint Batman does make it out of the pit, and so does Batman. But well, let's just say that you guys want to pick up issue 75. This is issue 74. I've already read issue 75, and it's actually really good. I'm giving you guys a heads up right now. City of Bane is interesting. It's interesting. Pick up issue 75. It's okay if you've been avoiding Batman for a long time, because we all know not a lot's happened here, but issue 75 was very intriguing. You know, this issue 74 is just set up. This is just basically, you don't know what happens to the Batman, but I can tell you Flashpoint Batman gets out. And next issue is some very interesting setup. Very interesting to read. Check that out. This issue, fantastic art, and finally we get a little bit of a payoff to one of the many poems that Tom King insists on adding from other sources. But in any event, tell me what you think of Batman 74. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. Don't forget to go outside. Take a break from comic books once in a while. Drink a little bit of Crown, a little bit of Coke. I suggest Crown Vanilla with a little bit of Crown Peach flavor. It's fantastic. Spend a lot of money. Get a nice big glass. A nice sort of spend about $20 on a good glass. One ice cube, round ice cube that floats around the middle of the glass. Pour the half ounce Crown Vanilla, half ounce Crown Peach, and just a dab of Coke. Sip it while reading your comics. Fantastic. Anyways, guys, talk to you later. Comic Boom out.